Welcome to the podcast summary of Kevin Youkilis. Kevin Youkilis had one of those careers that keeps poking holes in easy assumptions. He was underestimated because of how he looked, then became a Moneyball symbol, an elite hitter, a defensive standout, and one of the most intense personalities on the field. And the full story is bigger than the shorthand. It runs through scouting blind spots, plate discipline, Jewish identity, clubhouse friction, late career wear and tear, and a post-baseball life that stayed busy and pretty grounded. A lot of people saw Youkilis and decided they already knew what he was. Coaches and evaluators called him roly-poly, pudgy, a fat kid, and treated his stocky build and that crouched stance like a warning sign, instead of a clue that maybe traditional baseball aesthetics were getting in the way. The wild part is that the production was sitting right there. In college, he put up a .499 career on-base percentage and drew 206 walks, which is the kind of stat line that should make you stop whatever you're doing and pay attention. Instead, he went undrafted in 2000, then lasted until the 8th round in 2001 and signed for just $12,000. Years later, Red Sox executive Ben Cherington said that under modern evaluation standards, Youkilis would have been at least a sandwich pick and probably a first-rounder. That says a lot about scouting culture. Sometimes the miss isn't subtle. Sometimes everybody talks themselves out of the obvious, because the player doesn't arrive in the preferred packaging. That gap between appearance and value is exactly why Michael Lewis turned Youkilis into a Moneyball character, calling him Youkilis, the Greek god of walks. He became a clean example of what sabermetric thinking was trying to argue at the time. Getting on base matters, even if the player doesn't look like a star in the old-school sense. And it wasn't some cute theory that only worked in a spreadsheet in his pro debut. He posted a .512 OBP. Then in 2003, he reached base in 71 straight games, and he finished his minor league career with a .442 OBP. That kind of production helped show how plate discipline could be a market inefficiency. If everybody else is shopping with their eyes, the team willing to pay for patience can get a real player at a discount. What made Youkilis so effective wasn't just that he walked a lot. It was the whole experience of facing him. He said his job was to make it so the opposing pitcher can't breathe, which is a very Youkilis way of describing an at-bat. He'd spoil pitches, run counts deep, force mistakes, and generally turn a simple plate appearance into paperwork. In 2006, he led the American League in pitches per plate appearance at 443, and he also ranked high in walks, times on base, and line drive rate. Then the peak got really serious. From 2008 through 2009, among American League players with at least 1,000 plate appearances, his .960 OPS was the best in the league. He finished third in the 2008 AL MVP vote and won the Hank Aaron Award that year. So the guy once reduced to his body type ended up producing like one of the very best hitters in the sport. His glove followed a similar arc. Early on, scouts questioned his range and hands at third base, but over time he reinvented himself defensively and became a Gold Glove first baseman. In 2007, he led the American League first baseman with a perfect .100 fielding percentage, which still sounds a little unreal no matter how many caveats you want to add about fielding percentage. From 2006 to 2008, he set the major league record for consecutive errorless games by a first baseman, stretching it to 238 games and 2,002 fielding attempts before it finally ended in June 2008. As of 2020, his career .9975 fielding percentage at first ranked second, all time. So once again, a trait that was treated like a weakness turned into a real point of excellence. Youkilis also played with a kind of visible, exhausting intensity. Dirt-stained uniforms, collisions, getting hit by pitches, barking, grinding through at-bats, like every one of them was personal. In 2009, that edge boiled over when Detroit pitcher Rick Porcello hit him, and Youkilis charged the mound. Both players got ejected and suspended 5 games. That intensity helped define his value, but it also had a cost. In 2008, he contrasted his own win-at-all-costs attitude with Manny Ramirez's more relaxed style, saying that for Manny, winning and losing wasn't life and death. And when the Red Sox collapsed in 2011, There was speculation that Youkilis had become isolated from teammates. Sometimes the thing that makes a player feel indispensable can also wear people down around him. At his highest point, the resume is huge. Overlooked 8th-round pick, 3-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion, and eventually a Boston Red Sox Hall of Famer. His 2007 postseason was especially ridiculous. In the ALCS, he hit .500 with a .576 on-base percentage and set records for batting average and runs scored in that round. But the ending came fast, the way it often does for players whose game asks a lot from their body. Boston moved him back to third base after bringing in Adrian Gonzalez, and the fit got shakier. Then came a public dispute with manager Bobby Valentine before Boston traded him to Chicago in 2012. Back surgery limited him to 28 games with the Yankees in 2013, and plantar fasciitis cut into his 2014 season in Japan. It's a sharp swing from being central to everything to trying to hold the pieces together. Baseball careers can feel long while you're in them, and incredibly fragile once you look back. Another important part of his story is how openly and seriously he carried his Jewish identity. He sat out a 2004 game on Yom Kippur, and in 2005, he was part of a Red Sox group that put 3 Jewish players on the field at once, which had real cultural weight for a lot of fans. He wasn't casual about that responsibility either. He rejected an honor that tried to connect his family name to Marge Schott because of Schott's racist and anti-Semitic record. Later, Youkilis and Cincinnati pitcher Nathan Moore supported removing Schott's name from the University of Cincinnati Stadium, and the university approved the change unanimously in 2020. That part of his legacy isn't about stats. It's about deciding that public respect actually has standards and then sticking to them. His charitable work also came from something deeply personal. A college roommate and close friend died by suicide, and Youkilis spoke publicly about youth suicide awareness and the painful question of what more he could have done. His Kevin Youkilis Hits for Kids Foundation supports children's health, safety, advocacy, and medical research, which gives that work a very direct shape. And post-baseball, he didn't exactly disappear into a golf cart somewhere. He worked as a Cub Scout and development consultant, co-owned the award-winning Loma Brewing Company, coached Team Israel's hitters in the 2023 World Baseball Classic, and became a Red Sox TV analyst. It's a portfolio career, but it also tracks with who he was as a player. Restless, invested, still around the game, still finding places to compete and contribute. Kevin Youkilis is a good reminder that baseball's easiest judgments are often the flimsiest ones. The shape of the player, the style of the player, even the personality of the player can distract from what's actually there. And in his case, what was there turned out to be a lot. Discipline, toughness, reinvention, conviction, and a career that's more interesting, the closer you look at it. This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.